That's right. This week we're learning promise number 5, which says, God says you can trust me. And that's what our Bible lesson is all about today. This is the story of Noah. Now, Noah had decided to live for God, and he loved God very much. He really knew that he could trust God, even when things got a little bit, well, crazy, as you're about to find out. You see, everywhere on the earth in Noah's day, the people had forgotten about God. The earth had become a very, very bad place. People were fighting and arguing and hurting each other. There was bad things everywhere. And this made God very sad. And so God decided the world needed a fresh start. The only person who was following God was a man called Noah. And God wanted to look after his friend Noah. So he spoke to Noah one day and told him something a little bit unusual. He said, I want you to build a big boat. And I want you to call it an ark. God even told him all the details of how he should make this huge boat. So Noah knew that he could trust God. Kids, I wonder, would you do the same as Noah if this was you? Can you guess what Noah did? Do you think he sat around for a while and thought, I really need to think about this. I really need to figure this out. No, he didn't. He trusted God so much that straight away he started to do what God had said. He started to build this boat. Noah didn't waste any time trying to figure out anything because he knew he could trust God. He didn't need to understand everything. He just needed to start doing exactly what God had said. Now, Noah lived in the middle of a very, very dry land. It was just dry land everywhere. There were no boats, and so everyone else saw what Noah was doing, and they thought he was a bit of a joke. Quick, come and have a look. Come. Look what Noah's doing. He's gone a bit cuckoo. He's gone crazy. He's in the middle of a dry land and he's building a huge boat. Come and have a look. Come on, go quick. People would shout and laugh and made all kinds of jokes at Noah. Kids, he must have looked so silly building a big boat in the middle of a big dry land. But Noah wasn't living his life by what everyone else said. He was doing things by what God had said. And he knew he could trust God no matter what happened. So God promises you that you can trust him no whatever is going on around you as well. You can always trust God. Now, Noah knew that he had to trust God and keep building even though he looked really daft and everyone else thought he was going a bit mad. God had made a special promise with Noah and had told him that when this boat was finished, he would get all of his family and at least 2 of every other animal and bird and bug and all their food and everything that they need, and he would put it all on the boat, and he was going to save everything on the boat from this big flood that God was going to send. Can you imagine that? Every animal. It sounded bonkers. It sounded crazy. But Noah knew that God could be trusted, and he still remembered what promise number 5 is all about. God says, you can trust me. So Noah trusted God. Even when what he was doing seemed totally crazy, he just trusted God. He kept on building and getting prepared for the flood that was about to come. One day, when it was all ready, the boat was finished, Noah and his family and the animals all got into the ark and the door was closed. Then, just as God had said, in the middle of the dry land, rain started to fall and the waters rose up. Kids, have you ever seen it rain so much that the puddles got bigger and bigger and bigger, and sometimes they even fill the whole street and cars splash through it and there's big waves and the whole patch, you can't walk on them because they're flooded. But the flood that God sent was bigger than any puddle you have ever seen, bigger than ponds or lakes. It rained for 40 days. 40 days. The waters rose up and lifted the ship up with it. The flood got worse until even the highest mountains were covered, and only Noah and those on the ark were left in the whole world. Can you imagine that? The water flooded the earth for 150 days. Now, Noah and his family and the animals, they were all safe because they were inside the big, huge boat that Noah had built. And Noah was so glad that he had trusted and listened to God. Then one day, God sent a wind. You hear it? And the flood waters began to go down again. And the boat landed on the top of a high mountain. And after about 40 days, Noah sent out a dove. But do you know what? The dove couldn't find a place to land. So Noah, he waited 7 more days and sent out the dove again. And this time, it came back, but it had a leaf in its mouth, in its beak. So Noah knew that the flood was almost finished because there was a tree somewhere with a leaf on it. And then Noah waited 7 more days and he sent the dove out again. He pushed it out the window of the ark. But this time, the dove didn't come back. It had flown off. It had found a tree. It had found food. So it didn't need to come back. And that's when Noah knew that the flood must have dried up. Hooray! It was all over. They could start leaving the ark. So Noah opened the big door to the ark and he found dry ground. The flood had disappeared. The water had gone and there was dry ground again. And Noah and his family and all the animals and birds that came out of the ark. Can you imagine how happy they must have felt? They've been in there for 150 days, all on their own, with no one else. And now they're allowed out of the ark. I bet it felt amazing. And that day, God made a brand new promise with Noah. God promised that there would never, ever again be a big flood that would destroy everything. And he put a rainbow in the sky. Maybe you've seen rainbows in the sky before. Well, God put that there the first time when he made this promise with God to show that he really meant his promise. He was always going to keep it. So now every time we see a rainbow, we can remember how Noah trusted God and how we need to trust God as well, because God always keeps his promises. See, rainbows have been around a lot recently, haven't they? We've been drawing them, we've been sticking them in our windows to say thank you to the doctors and the nurses who are helping everyone, to remember how brilliant our NHS is. And it is fantastic, isn't it? And we need to say thank you. Well, kids, a rainbow is a very special sign. It's a sign that God gave to us. So wherever we are, whatever we're doing, when we see one, we can be reminded of God's promises, that we can trust him and that we can that he will keep his promises to us. So this week, whenever you see a rainbow in the sky, or in a window, or in a drawing, remember that you can trust God, just like Noah did. Noah trusted God. And when he was stuck in a huge boat with only water around, and God helped him, he knew that he could trust God. And we can trust God as well, even when we're spending lots of time in our homes, and we're not going out, and we're looking around, and we're thinking, when is this going to end? When are we going to be able to see our friends again? When are we going to be able to go back to school? When can we see our family again? That's what Noah must have felt as well. He must have been trapped in that boat thinking the same things. But he trusted God and he helped Noah. And we can trust God and he will help us too. Noah had such a long time before he could get off the boat, 150 days before the rain even stopped. And that's a really long time to trust God and that God will do what he said. It might feel to you like you've been waiting a really, really long time to be able to go out and to go back to school again or to see certain people again. But you know, in hard times, we're not on our own. God is with us and he will help us. So when God says that we can trust him, we really can trust him. God will never, ever let us down or break a promise. As we're learning today, promise number 5, God says, you can trust me.